In this video, I want to take a quick look at the amp envelope in the arpeggiator section. Now, this determines the shape of a note over its duration. I've got some held chords programmed here. This will determine the onset of how long it takes to ramp up for the note on. And with this all the way down, it'll be a nice sharp attack. But I can soften the attack by slowing the attack. So it kind of ramps up into it. I can slow it up a lot and then adjust the shape of how it ramps to make it more or less linear. Or I can go the opposite direction where it gets louder quicker. Now the decay determines how long it takes to fall to the level we have it sustain. So I can get a pluck kind of sound with a quick attack and a decay all with the sustain all the way down at the bottom. Soften it a little bit, and then if I bring up some sustain, it'll sustain at a lower level. So there we hear the note ringing on longer. We still have that pluck quality. But I can bring this up and get more of the sustain like that. I'll bring it down. And then release determines how long it takes for the note to return back to zero once we release our fingers from the key. With this up, it'll ring on. And they'll overlap and be messy here. Potentially. So the note off keeps ringing even when the next one is hit. But with that down low, we'll get a nice quick release. And this is just overall volume that's output. And then we can modulate that. And it's usually mapped to the x-axis, but we can, of course, assign it anywhere we want. Let's go with something more percussive as we explore the arpeggiator. Something like that. So we'll get something nice and short, but with some reverb on it. And we'll look at the arpeggiator. Now we turn it on or off over here. And we have different presets that we can get to over here. Now before I hit play and show you what it sounds like, we have basically two arpeggiators here. One, which is sequence, and that's what we're going to hear now when I hit play. But we also have it available as a modulation source. So when it's set to mod and we make adjustments here, that's what's used. Like let's say I want to modulate the filter cutoff here. I can choose arpeggiator modulator and use that. Let's explore that in a moment. But for now, we're going to go to sequence mode, and this is what we'll hear. And of course, we can adjust the steps. The height refers to velocity. We can have lots of silences for nice sparser parts. We can set the maximum number of steps here. And you can have odd number of steps to get interesting permeating movement. We can optionally skip the muted steps or not. And here we can determine how held notes are filtered and ordered. So we can arpeggiate up from what we're holding down, down. As played, we can hit the chord every note. Start from the lowest, lowest, second lowest, highest, and so on. We can determine how many octaves we want this spread over. The speed of each step. We have stepper buttons. Eighth notes versus 16th notes. Can add a bit of swing. And the velocity scales the velocity output of the arpeggiator. So I can increase the amount coming out of there or decrease it and even modulate it. So let's say I want to assign that to an LFO, LFO1. So that's adding to the dynamics. Let's slow this down. if I go negative, it'll make them quieter rather than accents. So I'm adding accents basically. And if I change the shape here, that'll make it a little more dramatic. Now here we have a menu where we can randomize the steps, humanize them, add different velocity or level offsets. And we can copy this sequence pattern to the modulation pattern, because you remember I told you there's two patterns here. So I can copy back and forth one to the other. I can double the resolution if I want. So I've made it 20 steps instead of 10. Or I can halve the resolution back to 10 steps. I can duplicate the length. Here I've got the modulation arpeggiator assigned to the filter. Let me put this on. So that's just with normal cutoff and a bit of resonant boost. But if I add this in, so we're hearing movement now based on the values in the arpeggiator. And I can add in the grain engine, of course. And we get some interesting rhythmic output from Ashlight. We'll continue with more in the next video.